Hi there. I want to read something while I'm waiting. I'm sitting here at a shipper and I'm waiting for them to put me in a door so that I can get loaded and make my trip over to Indiana. I'm not having a really good day today. I'm not really in the best mood. I feel like my patients have left the building, and I feel like my emotions are on overload. I feel like my soul is numb, and I don't really have any words for it. There's a lot of things going on in my life and in the world, so I'm sharing this because we all have things going on in our life, and we are not perfect. I'm not sharing these things because I am perfect. I'm sharing these things because this is what happens. This is what I do when I feel this way. I need God's word to encourage me, or to guide me, or to whatever it is I need. Okay, that's what this is all about. I make these videos most of the time when I need to connect, when I need someone to talk to, or when I just need to share something that's on my chest, something that's weighing heavy on me, and I don't always directly say what's bothering me. I don't always directly share the struggle that I'm going through. And I may not even ever, because I go to God's word to soothe me and to bring me understanding of the things in life that matter to me. Okay? And that is love, that is peace, that is rest, that is trust, that is forgiveness. And all these things in the world can try to distract me from focusing on those things, which is all those things that God gives me. God puts all those things in us. We just have to trust Him that it's there, and we have to trust Him that we can focus on that. We don't have to worry about all this stuff in the world going on. We can focus on the good things. He prepared us for good things. And so I want to read this in Galatians 5. Because when I read this, it just opened up a new and greater understanding of why we cannot rely on religion to lead us to God or to lead us to peace. We can't rely on religion to give us mercy and compassion, to give us understanding of the things that God has intended for us, things that are in God's will for us. We can't rely on religion to give to us the fullness of God, okay? Only God's word can give us His fullness. Okay, and we can only totally rely on God and only totally learn to trust God when we understand what's really going on through all of our struggles and why we have this war. We feel this battle all the time. We feel His goodness, but at the same time we have this world going on around us. And so how do we get to Him? How do we get to that peace? He promises, so much peace, so much grace, so much goodness, okay? How do we get to that? If this world is so distracting and so full of all this unkindness, all this negative, all this negative that makes us depressed, we get frustrated, we get separated, we can't seem to feel like we're not alone. Okay, we just feel like we're alone, but we're really not. So that's why I want to read this, because I believe that God's word is for God's people. Okay? Does that make sense? God's word is for us, his children. And listen what Paul says. It's only one verse, and I just need to share this. It's in Galatians 4:19. It says, "My children, with whom I am again in labor, until Christ is formed in you." That's it. Until Christ is formed in you. He says, "My children," I believe this is Paul who wrote this book of Galatians. He says, "My children, with whom I am again in labor, until Christ is formed in you." So this is why we struggle, because Christ is being formed in us. The things of this world are trying to block that out. It's trying to deceive us. The things of the world are trying to abort this Christ that's being formed in us, the godliness inside of us, the mercy inside of us, all the goodness of God inside of us, all the love inside of us is being formed in us, because God is the Christ, okay? Our Christ, the Lord, is our God. And he is being formed in us because we were formed in his image. And do you know that when you're not able to be completely and fully honest inside yourself, like within yourself, no one can hear you, no one can deny you, no one can argue with you, and no one can lie to you if you are inside. Being inside with God, inside yourself, if you cannot be honest right there first, you're not going to find rest. You're not going to find peace. You're going to constantly be toiling with the goodness that wants to come out of you, and with the negativity of this world that tells you that you need to hide. The things of this world want you to hide from God's truth. Okay? That is being honest with yourself. Okay? It says in, I love this verse. I love this verse in Genesis. When God made the woman for God, in Genesis 2:24, it says, "For this reason a man shall leave his father and his mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And the man and his wife were both naked and were not ashamed." Now, a lot of times I read that and I think, well, it's because they were with God and they were unashamed. Okay, but when you know that the Spirit of God lives in you as the helper, as your mate, and he brought the Spirit to you, okay, and they were both naked and were not ashamed. Where are we completely naked? We're completely naked on the inside. Our fullness of our being is inside of us, where God is, where we are naked to him. I mean, we are completely with God, and he knows our inner being, and he knows what's on the outside. So on the inside, where his Spirit is, we don't have to be ashamed. Okay, I don't know if you've ever read that or not, but where else do you find that you can be naked and not ashamed at the same time? You ever thought about that? Naked and unashamed. It's really hard. It's really hard to get honest. You know, we hear a lot of people saying, get right with God. You know, come to Jesus. You know, we think of all those religious comments and stuff, and it does distract you from really what's going on inside. It did for me. It really distracted me, because I thought that Jesus was a man I was going to go to, and that there was a fleshy man that was going to take care of all my needs and make me completely 100 satisfied. Or go to God, get right with God, go to church, perform right, show up right, dress right, be right, talk right, speak right, look right, be the right friend, be in the right relationship, have the right stuff all the time. You know, that's what I thought of when I hear someone say, get right with God. It just makes me cringe. Because we can't do anything to get right with God. You know why? Because He did everything to make Himself right for us, in the form of the man Jesus. He made Himself a body of flesh, and He dwelt among us, so that we could see that this flesh can be destroyed, but His Spirit will not. His Spirit will never fail us. His Spirit will never leave us, and His Spirit will always give us peace. It will always give us love, and it will always be teaching us kindness, gentleness, self-control, and patience. That's the hardest one. That's like the last one I get to. You know, that really is like drilling a hole in my tooth. It's trying to make me be patient. It's really hard for me to be patient. But I want to be. I want to be patient, because then I find more peace. I feel like I have more love to share when I am patient. When I'm all frustrated and irritated and I get depressed, I get mad at myself. But that doesn't stop me from being able to go to God's Word and read this Bible. We're allowed to read. We are freely allowed to read God's Word right now. It says, as long as it is called today, we can come to Him. And that's what I do, especially on days like this, because I'm losing my patience. I'm losing it very slowly and surely. But I just wanted to share that in Galatians, that I also am laboring with you until Christ is formed in you. Because Christ is always forming in us. He's always growing. He's always teaching. He's always there for us as we're growing. We're growing. We're growing closer to God, and we're growing closer to each other as God's children. We're growing closer together. We're being able to see. I think that's also a blessing for today, that we're being able to see the fog is being lifted. The veil is being lifted so much that we are starting to be able to see those who serve God, and those who truly love God, and those who are just religious. Okay, because we know God did speak to the religious ones. He spoke to them, Paul spoke to them, and it still says, as now, it is still that way. So we have to, tune our ears in to the voice of God, and try to tune out a lot of the religious gumbo, because it's hard to share God's goodness when people have religion on their mind. The religious mindset, this is the right way, follow this box, stay in this line, all that stuff. But when you know that you have God's love in you, it's really hard to keep it inside. And we'll get through this. We will get through this, because I am again in labor with you until Christ is formed in us. On the good days and on the bad days, just like today. Today is not a real good day, but you know, we got to go on. We got to move forward. We got to keep trusting God. We got to keep going deeper and deeper with His Word as the days get longer and it seems like nothing good is going on anymore. It seems like we have to look so hard. And when you do see something that's good, it's awakening. It's breathtaking, it's eye-opening, and it is definitely, you know, like a gift from God. All things that God does for us, all gifts from God are from above and they are good. So just remember that we are made for good things that God prepared us for in advance. So I hope whatever it is might be coming against you or helping, you know, to distract you from the good things that God has to offer you. I hope that this helped. I hope that this helped to let you know that you're not alone laboring in these things. And don't be afraid to get honest with yourself. Be honest inside yourself. Okay? Because that's where you're going to find God's forgiveness and God's grace. He's going to show it to you within yourself. You don't have to go and humiliate yourself in front of people to just say, you know, that you made a mistake or whatever. Because that's very hard. It's very hard to admit when we make a mistake, but trying to get through this, you guys. So we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.